Hi everyone, it is I, Uncle Melty, the host of the Metal Meltdown. How are you today? You're looking great. I had fully planned to do a reviewing every Nightwish album video. I had planned to record that today, but I am exhausted, tired. I don't know how I'm awake right now, even for that matter. So instead, how about I share with you a very special interview I did with Unto Others lead singer Gabriel Franco. We talked about their upcoming album Neverland. We talked about Unto Others being kicked off of the W.A.S.P tour for seemingly no reason whatsoever. Some tea, some drama, some spicy stuff going on there. We also talk about not taking rock and metal and goth music and culture and whatever so seriously and just kind of learning to relax and have fun. And we also talk about what could have been had Unto Others not changed their name from Idle Hands to Unto Others. Wow, all of that sounds so exciting and cool, Mr. Meltdown. Thank you! Thank you, I agree! Enjoy it! Watch it now! Hello, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Apologies, I'm wearing my own band shirt. It's cold here, though.
Hey, that's all good. I mean, if it works, then it works. For
Yeah,
everyone tuning in, watching at home, I'm speaking to Gabriel Franco, lead singer of Unto Others. It is a pleasure to have you here on the Metal Meltdown.
thank you very much.
Right off the bat, I want to ask you, a press release for this album says that after finishing work on this album, you were, and I quote, burnt out, full of anxiety and raw nerds. Raw nerves. Sorry, nerds is all. That's a candy.
Yeah,
Although who knows? I don't know. I like candy when I'm done with a job. So.
yeah. No, that was after Strength. Those press releases can get it wrong sometimes, but yeah, no. After this record, I was relieved. Uh, but yeah, tired. So it's kind of the same. Honestly, after every record, you're done. You're burnt out a little bit.
Hmm. I guess that answers my question in a way. I assume you're feeling pretty good with the new album. The name is escaping me right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, Neverland. Yeah, I mean,
Neverland. Just over a week and a half away now.
yeah, it's next Friday. Yeah, I'm excited for it to come out. We put a lot of work into it, just like we do every record, and I'm excited for everyone to hear it. So,
Now, the same press release, I say this knowing damn well we've just established press releases fuck it up.
yeah,
But that same press release does mention, and I think you may have mentioned in a section of this release, that this is a more collaborative record than Mana or Strength, and that you were, and it's heavily implied that you were more in control of those other albums. Was it
yeah.
initially difficult to give up some of that control?
This makes so much sense why I keep getting asked this question. No offense. It was in the fucking press release,
Note to
apparently.
self,
Yeah,
ignore the
that's
press
half
release.
true. I still wrote everything, I write all the songs except for Butterfly. Brandon wrote that, and I worked with him on that. But yeah, by and large, I'm still the primary songwriter. It was just when we were in the studio, I was less kind of like iron grip on all of the studio parts, and I wasn't trying to play producer, right? Like generally every time we go to the studio, I give myself a honorary junior producer sticker and I put it on my badge here, and because I'm really just sitting behind whoever's producing, going, move that back a half a beat, move that up, put reverb there, do that. This
Hmm.
time it was a lot more like, yeah, man, make it bigger. And I could do that with our producer Tom because he was capable of understanding like layman's terms, just going make it sound better, and he would. It was awesome. Um, but not that my old producers weren't, of course. All my producers have been fantastic. But this time I just kind of let go a little bit, and that includes not just the production, but the drums and the guitars and the solos and backing vocals and stuff like that.
Would you say overall this was an easier album to write, record, and produce and execute in comparison to other records?
Yes and no. It's always easy for me to write stuff. The problem is, you know, where we're at in our careers, everything has to be strategic. I can write and record fucking 30, 40 songs a year. Like I could easily do that. but that would be like the dumbest thing I could do. In terms of like our band as a business. You know, I would love to be an artist that does that because that is the most exciting part of being an artist for me. It's not the touring, it's not the live performances, it's not recording, it's working at home on music, having that feeling of excitement, then recording it and releasing it, and that's it. But I can't do that. So yeah, it was just like it was all there. I had like 40, 50 demos. They're just sitting around and just waiting to put them out. You know, I could have had this record out a year ago, but we moved from Roadrunner to Century Media, and that takes time.
May I ask, and I don't know, maybe there's some shit that got signed or whatever, but why the transition from Roadrunner to Century Media?
Oh, that one's pretty simple. They dropped us. They dropped us and Code Orange, and they fired our A&R guy and a couple more of his bands. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were expecting from us. Maybe blow up like Turnstile or something, but
Hmm.
that didn't happen. So, you know, we're a slow growth band. We're kind of a long haul band, and that's what I'm coming to terms with. There's positives and negatives to that. The positive is the slower you go up, the slower you go down. Um, we don't have to worry about maintaining our place on a peak if you shoot up, you know, with a
Hmm.
scene or something. The downside is it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of years. But I got into that prepared for that. So the Roadrunner thing was just another hurdle in a long line of hurdles that has faced this band since the beginning, from our name changes to the pandemic to you know, label shifts and all this crap. It's all there's always something. It's how you deal with the problems that are presented to you that defines who you are and your success.
I thought it was interesting, like back in the day when I heard that you were signed to Roadrunner, because my first thought was, wow, congratulations. And then it was also, wow, really? Roadrunner's signing unto others.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I thought it was crazy too.
mhm.
I mean, you're not alone there. Like, sorry, you can go ahead.
No, no, it's and even with I guess it's not shocking in a way. I mean, it's disappointing, and Century Media is probably the better home for a band like yours, or really any metal band. Roadrunner's skewed way towards more commercial rock and kind of
Yeah,
pop music in the
yeah,
past decade,
yeah.
especially. But yeah, dropping Code Orange, I even thought was weird because I'm like, I thought Underneath was a hit. Like that album did really well, if I'm not mistaken. But
Roadrunner, they're a skeleton crew. There's only a few people working there anymore, and you can tell. Go to their website, try to navigate it. It's a fucking mess. It's like it's 1998 on their website right now, which is probably actually working in their favor given the popularity of shit from that era right now.
I
But
know. I mean, they there was
yeah,
in the 90s and even into the 2000s, they were putting out some of the best of the best, like some of the biggest, or
yeah,
at bare minimum, some of the biggest metal albums from the biggest metal bands of those
yeah.
times.
No, and I don't mean the bands on Roadrunner. I just meant their literal website, of course. You know,
Hmm.
I have nothing against the artists that are on Roadrunner. I totally respect Turnstile, Trivium. Um, those are the ones I can name off the top of my head. I know Slipknot left, but or was done with their contract. But yeah, it's a skeleton crew over there. So I don't know what's going on with Roadrunner. I just know that they don't have a lot of staff, and we weren't a big band and not the as big as they needed us to be, and so you get let go. That's how it works. But there's a silver lining behind everything, and honestly, I know it sounds cliche, and of course I'm going to say this, but getting dropped was great for us because we were signed to a 5 album perpetual deal, meaning they own every album we release on their label for the rest of our lives and the rest of their lives as long as their company exists. Uh, with our new deal, we get them back after 10 years. So when I'm old, I can sit on my records and have something to show for it, as opposed to a lot of these artists who sign deals when they blow up when they're really young and just get fucked, you know. So there's always a silver lining. I'm happy to be on Century Media, and I think we're going to have a great working relationship.
Hmm. Do you feel like there's more freedom now as an artist, writing music and touring now that you're on Century Media Records as well?
Oh, um, freedom as an artist to write and tour. I mean, no label these days that I know of is really getting their hands into your writing process too much. Um, I think that's kind of a public misconception, at least in the metal world. They don't touch that. I'm sure if you're a pop star, they're getting all over you. But as far as songwriting goes, no, every label signs you because they liked your creativity. They'd be stupid to come in and tell you how to do what you're gonna do. The most you get is, hey, why don't you be more goth? That'd be easier to sell. Or hey, why don't you be more thrash? You know, the industry has a proclivity for trying to put you into a pigeonhole because it's easier to sell you from there.
In the past, you've said that your songs are fact and fiction at the same time. How much of any given unto other song is fact or fiction? Is it like a 50-50 split, or does that kind of change depending on the subject matter?
I'd say like 80-20, like
Okay.
20% fact, 80% fiction. Like it's they're always inspired by real life, and then I create a story around it. I think that's true for almost all of them. I mean, there are songs that are 100% fiction, of course, like Nightfall or some shit like that. But
Or
there's
maybe it's
also
something like Dragon, unless you actually met a dragon, which would be
Oh,
amazing.
Dragon's totally inspired by fact because that one's about the death of imagination. That song's about growing up and not people not wanting you to play anymore, and that sucks. It was really shitty for me and hard, especially when I was working on Dragon, watching all my friends kind of just flicker away. And I'm sure this is a feeling that most people in their late 20s start having is it's a party up till then. Everyone wants to hang out. No, not a lot of people have kids yet. And then you just start seeing everybody less and less and less. And then by the time you're 30, 35, it's oh, uh, when's the last time I saw my buddy? Oh, 4 months ago, shit like that. So, and that's normal. It becomes normal, which is a shame. But yeah, I was struggling with growing up when I was 27. So
I mean, I can kind of relate to that in a way, because I mean, like, I'm turning 30 years old this year, but I only really feel like I've really like grown up and become the person who I am within the past couple of years.
yeah,
Like, I look back at the person I was 5, 10 years ago, and I don't even
no,
recognize myself.
not the same person at all. Yeah,
Hmm.
if I went back to my early 20s, 10 years ago and was like, hey, uh, looking at that dude, my priorities were so much different. I mean, I still wanted to be in a band and make it with my band and everything, but there was so much emphasis about hanging out with my friends and partying. Like that was like my primary goal was to get out on the road and be on tour so I could party every day and be hanging out with my friends every single day. That was number one. Now I don't really like going on tours unless I have to, unless it's like got a purpose. Not that I don't enjoy touring, but has to have a purpose. So yeah, I think it's pretty common feeling late 20s, early 30s. Just you start changing, you get a little bit more mature. You can't really hang like you used to.
Hmm. Yeah, it is, it's different that way. I mean, I think I'm lucky where I am. I'm married, but my wife and I enjoy a lot of the same things, and none of our friends have kids. But that will
No.
eventually maybe change. I don't know. Well, life is unpredictable. Anything can happen. If the past 5 years have taught all of us anything, it's that
Yeah.
anything can happen, I feel.
Well, and especially when you start getting your 30s and your friends and yourself, you start seeing your parents getting older if they're still around, of course. And you start thinking of a life where your parents are gone and you're like, wait, what the fuck am I gonna do? You start going, am I just gonna like play music and fuck around and go on vacations for the rest of my life? You think that that sounds nice, but it's not because it becomes less rewarding the less of a vacation it becomes. If
Hmm.
your life is a vacation, it's not. And so it's like you start going, I got to give back. At least me. I'm like, I got to give something back because I am not fulfilled from taking. Like, I can't just drink and eat and travel and do all this shit and feel happy. That will never bring me fulfillment. So at a certain point, you start going, what can I give back? You know, what can I? And a lot of people start feeling that way, I feel like. So you got to have a passion.
Do you feel like Unto Others and the music that you make is your way of giving back then?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's one way. Yeah. But also just helping out my friends and family, being available, offering to be there to help other people, you know, because music is just a distraction. It's an illusion. I mean, it's all an illusion. Like enjoying it is one thing, but saying my music is my life, like I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, my records are my babies." I'm like, dude, you're high. Like my record's a record. Yeah, but yeah, someday I'd like to have children, and I think that's for me, that's an important thing at some point. So
I gotta say, it's refreshing almost to hear like sometimes I do these interviews and people are like, this record is my baby. I put my heart and soul into this. This is about my feelings on this and
pretty vapid
the
in my
government, society, the environment,
yeah.
whatever. And and now it's just like, I make music. I have fun. Like I got other shit to worry about and deal with.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, if music was my life, I already tried that. It fucking drove me nuts. Fuck that shit. The
Young
happiest I've ever been was when I forgot I was in a band for a second earlier this year. I was like, I was having a blast.
young wannabe rock stars and musicians, maybe pay attention to this interview. Don't make music your life.
Life is a balance. It's a give and take. That's all I gotta say. So, music is fun to think about the rock star lifestyle, all for you. But if you don't give back, you're gonna be unhappy.
hmm I've noticed with the last couple of EPs and albums, this one included, you guys throw on a cover song near the end, and with Strength, there was the Pat Benatar cover, "Hell Is for
Yeah.
Children." There was a Scorpions cover on the last EP, the name I'm struggling to remember. There's
Oh,
a Ramones cover on
Passion
this.
the game. Yeah.
hmm There's
Yeah.
a Ramones cover on this one, which I didn't get for some reason with my promo copy, but whatever, it is what it
It's
is.
because it's not on the record. It's they just put it as a deluxe digital version.
Ah, I see.
Otherwise, they were going to have to release it as its own separate entity on Spotify or something, and it wouldn't count towards some kind of play metrics or some crap. So I just said, yeah, sure, but it's not going to be on the vinyl or anything like that. It's not part of the actual album. It is just a track on the digital bonus version.
Okay.
Because yeah, I wanted that track to be uh, on a Halloween release next year, but they wanted to put it
Ooh.
out this year. I'll still be doing a Halloween release next year, but and I'll probably put Pet Cemetery on that too, so it has its own vinyl version. But yeah, for now it's just that digital track because they wanted to promote it and blah blah blah.
I guess that kind of answers what I was
Oh
getting
yeah,
to,
sorry,
but
what were you gonna say?
yeah,
Sorry.
it's all good. No harm done. And it was you've done all these cover songs, and how do you decide what songs to cover? And would you consider doing like a cover EP and album? And I guess adding on to that, would that cover EP album tie into this potential Halloween release in the future, or?
Uh oh yeah. Well, I mean, sorry, what was the first half? You said cover EP album.
Yes. How do you decide what songs to cover?
That's come along naturally. I mean, over time, like Passion Rules the Game was just for fun. It's because that was a song we all listened to like 100 times on one tour years ago. We're like, we should just record that. We love playing that. Hell is for Children was a suggestion by our drummer. Pet Cemetery, I was just like, this song's perfect for us. We should play this. Um, but yeah, like it's not a crazy process. It's just we cover a lot of shit and some of it sticks, some of it doesn't. Like we covered I Don't Want to Be Me by Typo Negative, but my drummer fucking hates playing it. So, you know, as part of a band, I have to concede. I'm not going to force him to play it because I don't want to piss my guys off, too much. So that one went out the window. And then like we covered a Wipers track. And same thing. It was like, why are we covering this? I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Why are we covering this? And yeah, so like London Dungeon by the Misfits, we covered that, but we played it live 3 times, no response from the audience. Like no one gave a fuck. Same with Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics. We covered that. We played that at 2 gigs. The crowd was just completely dead through the whole thing. I thought it was an amazing
Really?
cover.
Because
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds awesome to me. That
Yeah, I
sounds like
mean,
a
it might
natural
be on
fit.
YouTube. Yeah, it might be on YouTube. I don't know. But we played it in San Francisco and we played it, I think, at Hell's Heroes 2023 and like in Los Angeles. But yeah, the crowd didn't give a shit. Like, so to me, I was like, this is, tell me that you love me, tell me that you need. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. That's my long answer.
And would you consider doing a cover EP or album in the future?
So yes, absolutely. And probably give me another album or two before I do that. But absolutely, I totally want to. I'm just pissed that we had to change our name from Idle Hands because I had this master plan for Idle Hands, man. Like it was like our first album was Mana, second was Strength. That was pre-planned. And then we
Hmm.
had to change our name to Unto Others. And I kept Strength, even though I was like, this doesn't work as well with Unto Others as it did with Idle Hands. Because strength, hands, whatever, right? Um, and I was like, okay, we're going to continue with the attributes thing. We'll do luck. I'll probably do vitality, something like that, or wisdom or intellect or some shit. And then we'll do a covers album later on or a best of that'll be called attributes. And I was like,
Nice.
I know, I was pissed off. I'm just like, God damn it, dude. I was so mad. Like, I guess that would work best for the best of album. But yeah, anyway, so now I just got to come up with other stupid names for shit. But yeah, someday I'd love to do a covers record.
I think, and I'm not a lawyer. In fact, I'm
But
an idiot.
yeah,
But go go back to court and be like, Your Honor,
yeah.
listen, I know we've ruled on this. We've
Oh,
done this.
there was no
But
really.
here's the game plan for the Idle Hands cinematic universe. All
Yeah,
right, just
yeah,
hear me
yeah,
out.
yeah. I had it, dude. But yeah, the yeah, it never went to court or anything like that. It's funny, we never even got sued or anything like that. That wasn't the story. A lot of people think that is, but it's like we signed a Roadrunner and they they said, you need to own your trademark because Roadrunner is a Warner Brothers company. Warner Brothers has $50 billion or whatever, so people love to sue them. Um, I didn't own the trademark. Some guy did, so I just asked him, "Can we buy it?" He's like, no, here's my lawyer. And his lawyer's like, yeah, we'll talk for 100,000. I just offered them like hypothetical. I said 50 grand. Would you sell the name to us? And he's like, yeah, we'll talk for 100. And I was like, okay, guys,
Yikes.
we have to change our name. So yeah, and funny enough, there was another Unto Others, and I had to pay them for the name.
Well, shit. Do you know if the guy who owns the Idle Hands trademark did anything with it? Does he have his own band or production
No, well, he
company?
does. He does. He has a like a blues rock band in Southern California.
Oh shit.
But they don't do shit. Yeah. So,
There's no chance the two bands will join together on tour anytime soon.
dude, he was insane. No. Yeah, he really wanted me to be a jackass, basically, because he's like, well, we can license you the name. Essentially, we own your band. If you blow up, we
Yikes.
have complete control over me, because they control my name. Which I was like, dude, how stupid do you think I am? But yeah, stupid enough to choose a trademark name, I suppose.
No one's perfect, eh?
No, no,
It's funny too, because like I still have some old Idle Hands stuff. Like I've got a copy of Mana, and it's not Unto Others, it's Idle Hands.
yeah,
And I'm not wearing it now, but I've got like an Idle Hands long sleeve, and I because of that I kind of make the mistake sometimes, like in videos or in conversations with
Yeah.
people, just being like, "Oh yeah, you got to check out these guys. They're really cool. They're called
Oh
Idle
yeah.
Hands," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, they're not."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, good on you. Those it's funny when we had to change our name, I was selling those long sleeves for like $5 a pop on our website. I had like 700 of them in my basement. And now they're selling for like $100 each. So
I
that's
mean, I can kind of see why. It's a collectible. I'm in no rush to sell it, but if I find
yeah,
myself in a
no,
pinch, I could.
hold on to it for sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just would prefer to just own it, right? But
Hmm.
yeah, like fuck, $100. Yeah, and the thing is, for me, I'm like, well, how long are you gonna hold on to it? Because like, oh, maybe in 20 years I can sell it for 500. But for me, my personal rule is like, no, I would never spend more than I think 150 on a t-shirt. I don't give a shit if it's like a
Hmm.
60s fucking like Fleetwood Mac original concert tour shirt or something. I'd be like, dude, it's a worn out piece of cloth. I
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I mean, that's what's like my wife loves vintage shopping and I just can't do it for that reason because I'm like I'm paying
yeah.
I walk around and I'm like I see old boots and old jackets and like yeah, they're nice, but like they're so expensive.
Well, I also just feel like a fool after I've spent that much money. I go, oh my God, this was such a waste. I could
Hmm.
use this on something nice.
Yeah, especially because like for me it's like all right, I could spend $150 sure on a t-shirt or play my cards right. Me and Anna go see a movie, get some drinks, go have dinner. Like that
There you
just
go.
sounds a little more entertaining and fulfilling. I want to ask you something else. A couple other things. I think I've still got you for a bit. What exactly are you at liberty to talk about? What exactly happened with the W.A.S.P tour, and are there any plans to still tour North America? Maybe not in the near future, but in the future.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked this. I've had like four interviews and no one's even mentioned it. I'm like, really? Like, I was like,
Really?
yeah. I figured. I'm like, hey, it's yeah, whatever. No, I can totally talk about the Wasp tour. What I posted was the truth. Um, all I know, and what I did omit one thing in the post just to save some stress from my booking agent and my management. But yeah, like Wasp just kicked us off. Blackie said, "I don't want these guys on the tour. Fuck you, they're off." And we tried to have a conversation saying, "Hey, come on, like, what the fuck? What can we do here?" We and by the way, he said we didn't have a marketing plan. We sent. I have copies of this. I have copies of the emails. It's ridiculous. But yeah, like just kicked us off, and all I know is after that, then he started trying to get our guarantees back from the promoters. So basically, the idea I think was, and this is just speculation, it's not truth, but everything points to he kicked us off so he could get our money, basically.
Hmm.
Uh, no opening band means no opening band to pay, and that's about it. And you can also speculate further on that and go, tickets weren't selling well. Um, and that's why he wanted his money back, as people were posting photos of the seating charts or whatever. But yeah, like normally I try to keep this stuff hush hush just because you don't want to piss anybody off. But yeah, he really screwed us over. I mean, with this entire thing, it's such a waste of our time, such a waste of his time, a lot of stress that no one needs. Like he was even emailing us, after we made the post saying we got kicked off, trying to say he's going to sue us for libel and all this shit. And I'm like, libel what, man? We just said we got kicked off the tour.
Yeah,
So
and if that's factually what happened, then that's
yeah,
I don't know. That's odd to me.
yeah. So yeah, there's just a lot of bullshit in there, and what's done is done, and we're looking forward, to the future now. But yeah, as far as U.S. touring goes, uh, I think my manager said, yeah, give us a couple days, and they're going to try and figure out something alternative because, normally I'd say let's go on a U.S. headliner run right now, but you have to be smart about this kind of shit. Like, do we want to scramble together some last minute run with inadequate promo, inadequate support bands because we haven't had time to put anything together and other people's schedules are conflicting, or do we want to do this right? And unfortunately, we got to do it right. So what we're looking at right now is, are there any other bigger tours, any other acts we can open for this fall in America? That's kind of like what we're focusing on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, we might do a few targeted gigs in major cities around the country.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got one more question for you. After that, I'll let you go. It has been a pleasure again to speak with you.
Of course.
And I've spoken to some metal elitists, quote unquote, who think that
we're not metal anymore.
Yes, that you aren't metal enough, and that
Yeah.
I've also spoken to goth elitists who would argue that you aren't goth enough.
Yeah.
And how I think I know the answer, but how would you respond to these comments from these people arguing that you're not enough of this or not enough of that?
Say I was never trying to be. I don't give a shit, dude. Like, go ahead. We're not goth all day. We're not metal all day. I really, really could not care less about that kind of shit. And you know what? Honestly, the fact that they're even talking about us is flattering. So thank you.
I mean, that's the attitude to have right there.
I mean, you're listening to the fucking music. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, you still paid for the record. You're still tuning in. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
well, I mean, if people want us to be some more of something or some more of something else, it's like, dude, you want them to hear Mana? Great. It's recorded. It's on vinyl. Go listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
I will never make that record again. I literally can't. I could try and make one called Mana 2, where I try every single tactic I use on that record to create this same sounding thing. I could go to the same producer and be like, this was my fucking attempt at doing Mana again. And it wouldn't sound like it. And even if it did, people would say it doesn't. So it's just like, dude, just listen to you talk all the shit you want, do whatever you want, but please, if you're gonna talk shit, listen to the album first. Don't just listen to one song and then say you know everything about the record. Listen to the whole thing, then talk shit. That's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's very fair. I can understand that. I mean, I'm the guy that I'm probably one of the only men my age when the Twilight movies were coming out that watched them before I talk shit about them. So I feel you completely.
Hey, if you listen to the record, you have a right to complain.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you again for your time. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. Is there anything you'd like to say to all the fine people watching at home before we sign off?
Neverland comes out in 9 days. Thank you to every single person who listens to our music or buys records or t-shirts or whatever. It all helps us immensely, and we're going to do our best to continue creating the best music we possibly can, and not cutting corners and keeping things as real as possible. Because here at Unto Others, your audio experience is our number one priority.
Hey, that's cute. I like that. Put that on t-shirts and shit.
Like that. I would edit it. I'd fancy it up a little bit, but something along those lines.
Okay, now I'll see like a few years from now, Unto Others starting like an actual business, like having an HQ, and that'll be the slogan. Get
sure,
like all the corporate commercials and shit.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you again. I'll let you go. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, bud.
Right on. Nice talking to you.
Wow, did you like that? I bet you did, you little sicko, you little weirdo, you little wackadoodle. Hey, if you aren't already subscribed to the Metal Meltdown, you can do that by pressing this button. Look, there's even more videos here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an excellent day.